Oh.
It's Rory's last week
Oh, no.
before college.
This totally sucks.
With one slight obstacle,
She's taking me hostage.
a few major dramas,
You got married?
There's more.
and all new surprises.
We apologize for interrupting your scheduled programming. This is a broadcast that has been issued by the Australian Department of Defence. An unknown virus has broken out within the central Melbourne region, and tests done by researchers have shown that the virus is in fact lethal towards those who catch it. It is at the government's interest that all airports within the general vicinity of the area are shut down, and as of 11:59 p.m. tonight, a Level 4 lockdown shall take place. During a lockdown, you are not allowed to leave your residence, and each person will still be compensated money for their contributions to stop the virus. It is unclear how long the lockdown will last for, but once the health department and researchers discover more about this disease, it is mandatory to remain at home. Very shortly, it will become mandatory to also wear masks within public areas. Causing riots and encouraging disruption of the peace is forbidden by the law, and anyone caught looting or rioting will be arrested by the Australian police. The Prime Minister will make an announcement to the people of Melbourne, as well as more tests that will follow. As for now, it is strongly encouraged to wear a mask and not to interact with random strangers in public. Thank you for listening to this announcement.
We apologize for interrupting your programming. This is an important announcement that has been issued by the Australian government. Just a little less than an hour ago, a new virus has been detected within the central Melbourne area, with at least 40 people whom are infected. In order to protect the general public from contracting this unknown and potentially hazardous disease, it is with the Australian Health Minister's approval that the entire city of Melbourne is to go into lockdown tonight. As mentioned, everyone will be compensated money for their generous contribution towards making Australia less disease-free and protecting those who are vulnerable to being infected. However, new studies have shown that contracting the virus may be fatal. Although there haven't been any confirmed death, but symptoms of this virus may involve fits of coughing, sore throat, nausea, and extreme lightheadedness and dizziness. If you or someone you know is experiencing any of these symptoms, do not hesitate to get them to a doctor or a special clinical specialist immediately, as they may have contracted the virus. It is strongly encouraged to wear a mask while being outdoors, as it reduces the chances of you contracting this dangerous virus. Thank you for listening to this broadcast. Make sure to wear a mask and wash your hands thoroughly and continuously.
Please do not turn off your devices. This is an emergency announcement made by the Government of Australia. At least 20 cases of the virus have been detected in Sydney, as well as 60 cases of the virus outside of Australia. Most of them, however, are contained within the state of Victoria and aren't in other territories. However, it is with the Australian government's request that the entire state of Victoria is put into a lockdown, with citizens being in public prohibited by the law. While it is unclear as to how these new cases appeared within Sydney and outside of Melbourne, it is known that at least 35 out of the 520 patients have died from the virus. However, the thing that is most greatly needed to know is how they have died. As stated by the Australian Health Minister, it is shown that in the days leading up to one's death, their skin tends to fall off as the victim vomits blood. During the final day of their lives, the victims have been seen acting somewhat aggressive, almost as if they're trying to bite and spit at people. Most of their skin has fallen off, and eyewitness accounts state that they are no longer human on their final day. As a result of this shocking new discovery, new restrictions are expected to take place as well as stronger rules to enforce mask wearing. A public curfew will be enforced as well from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Anyone seen walking around after this curfew will be arrested. Anyone seen who has decomposing skin and vomiting blood will be taken to intensive care immediately. Please, for the sake of you and your family, do not go outside and risk catching this virus. Thank you for listening to this announcement. The Government of Australia have just declared a Level 4 mandatory lockdown concerning the entire state of Victoria after more than 20 cases of the virus have been detected in Sydney. The symptoms of the virus are scarce but may involve severe coughing, vomiting of blood, severe nausea or dizziness, and a survival rate of 62% as of right now. This virus, which has been studied by researchers in Melbourne, is classed as very dangerous, and if it spreads globally, it could kill as much as 2 billion people. It is required by the government to wear a mask outside and to wash and sanitize your hands as much as possible. As well as that, all public transport will be shut down, as well as most public shops except for supermarkets and public healthcare facilities such as hospitals and clinics. All emergency services are available as well. Travel either to or from any major cities within the state of Victoria, whether it's by car, train, boat, or by plane, is currently prohibited. Scientists are currently working on a cure, but progress will be relatively slow if the virus mutates. Theorists predict that the Australian economy may collapse as a result of this, which could trigger a worldwide economic depression. This is why all currently employed citizens will still be paid their yearly salaries if they attend virtual conferences or meetings involving their jobs. For people who are unable to attend virtual conferences or meetings due to the nature of their jobs, such as public transport drivers, will be compensated at least $90,000 each. It is expected that the Prime Minister of Australia will make a special announcement regarding this situation very shortly. This is a national broadcast. May we have your full attention, please? Just a few minutes ago, the Prime Minister of Australia announced a complete lockdown of the entire country of Australia. What this means is that travelling either to or out of the country is prohibited either by plane or boat. All assets and international cargo ships will need to stay in Australia due to a risk of spreading the virus. As well as that, the number of cases has skyrocketed to at least 2,500 people. 400 of which have died from the virus. The World Health Organization has stated that it will be an international emergency if the virus were to get out. However, more research done has discovered some disturbing facts about the disease. Patient 0, who was the first person to receive the virus, didn't feel any symptoms until at least 2 weeks ago. Since then, he has been in a critical condition and has been found to try and attack researchers and scientists who have been studying him. It is scientifically shown that if you are bit, spat, or scratched by an infected person, you have an 87% chance of becoming infected by the virus. The lockdown will not be indefinite, however, it will be effective until further notice. In the meantime, scientists are attempting to work on a cure that will hopefully slow down, if not completely abolish, the spread of the virus. Good luck everyone, and remain indoors. The Australian Prime Minister will make an announcement on this shortly. This is just in. At least 30,000 people have gathered in central Melbourne this morning demanding that the restrictions are to be lifted and that all borders connecting Australia to international countries are opened. This is just one of the many protests that have happened around Victoria this week. However, the Australian government have firmly recommended that the protests to be shut down as the virus is spreading.
We apologize for interrupting your scheduled programming. This is an emergency that concerns every citizen currently residing within the city of Melbourne. Cases within the area have skyrocketed to at least 20,000 people whom are infected with the virus. While it is currently unknown how this has happened, a martial law will be taking place within the state of Victoria, as well as local military and law enforcement being deployed within the area to maintain control. Do not at any means go outside and interact with members of the public, as you will be faced with certain death. Evacuations will shortly be taking place in order to evacuate every healthy citizen from the area. It is important to cover all layers of skin in case a victim attempts to bite or attack you. As well as that, it is scientifically proven that a mask will not protect you from the transmission of the virus. In order to protect your body from being infected, the government have begun providing free hazmat suits and gas masks. While you are unfortunately unable to access these now, the military will provide it to you once you come into contact with them. Police will be going from door to door scanning people to make sure they are healthy and as means not to cause disruption. If you attempt to attack or use physical aggression against officers who scan you, they are legally required to use lethal force or tase you to protect themselves. Citizens who are scanned as healthy will be escorted towards a local military base where they will be provided a hazmat suit and a gas mask. While citizens will be evacuated to different areas, the government will make sure that families will stay together and not be separated during this tough time of crisis. As of this moment, over 34,600 people are in the streets right now causing mass disruption. While the majority of these people aren't infected, they will be very shortly. If you are part of the 34,000 people whom are protesting, take this next statement as a way to ensure your survival, not as means of political control. If you associate or interact with people who are infected with the virus, you are putting your life and your family's life at great risk. Over 48,000 cases of the virus are active within Australia, with only at least 20 cures so far. Out of the 95,000 people who have ever contracted the virus within the past 21 days, 47,000 of whom have died as a direct cause of the virus. This virus is real, it is not a hoax, and it has a very low survival rate. Please, for your own good, protect yourself. If this virus spreads outside of Australia, it will cause mass devastation and will threaten our very species' survival as we know it. The Australian military will use lethal force upon the protesters if they do not go indoors or choose to comply with law enforcement. If you want to live, take this warning very seriously. You're either going to die from the virus itself or from lethal force. Thank you for listening.
Dude! Fire. Grill master, huh?
Burgers, better with Pepsi.
Research shows that people remember ads with young people having a good time. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance, here's a pool party.
Look what I brought!
Liberty Mutual! They customize your home insurance!
So you only pay for what you need!
Young people having a good time with insurance! Young people, good times, insurance!
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Warning. We apologize for interrupting your scheduled programming. A civil authority has issued a contagious disease notice for the following counties or areas: Los Angeles County, Orange County, San Bernardino County, Riverside County, and Ventura County. At 8:27 p.m. on February 20, 2022. Do not leave your current location of residence. The deadly virus, which has begun in Australia and has killed more than 327,000 people, has spread towards the United States after a passenger from Australia travelled illegally on a flight 2 hours ago. The individual, who has not been identified, is now a wanted fugitive by the FBI for carrying a deadly virus with a minimal survival rate into the United States. The FBI have called for a $950,000 bounty on the individual if people find them either dead or alive. As far as the U.S. government is aware, at least 10 people have been infected by the virus so far, and it is rapidly spreading across the city of Los Angeles. As a result, the entire Los Angeles area will be placed in an immediate lockdown, with all highways leading out of Los Angeles blocked by military blockades and planes traveling to or from Los Angeles diverted. Either to or from Los Angeles. All residents will be ordered to remain indoors and not to interact with sick members of the public. While a cure has not been developed yet, it is very important to not interact with other people if you come across with the disease. If in the event you do contract the virus, certain death will follow in a matter of a week. As proven by the Department of Health in Australia, victims of the virus will slowly deteriorate until they eventually die painfully in the last day. It is at the general public's health that you must remain inside and not to interact with members of the public. Or else, you may be responsible for putting our very survival at risk. Please, for the sake of humanity, remain inside and don't interact with members of the public. Thank you for listening.